Hello, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Collapse Experiment, where I discuss the current state of the collapse and what we can do about it. Because that's optimistic, right? Let's get to it, shall we? First thing on the collapseexperiment.com that I have prepared for today: coincidence or planned food shortages and empty shelves. This video is on YouTube. It was made by Preparing for Survival on YouTube. And she's got a pretty decent channel. Somebody that is new to prepping, paying attention to the news, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And recently, some of her latest videos have been trying to help her mother-in-law prepare for the food shortages that we're looking at having. Even CBS News did a piece about not just inflation, but food shortages, things disappearing from the shelves, the supply chain issues, and whether or not we're going to have a famine. CBS News. Weird. But anyways, she makes some pretty good arguments here in the first 5 minutes of this video, so that's why I posted it on here. And it caused me to look into a few other things, which I will be sharing later in this broadcast. Next, we have Black Hole. Black Hole. White House doesn't know where U.S. weapons go after entering Ukraine. How could this be a bad thing? I mean, we've never just handed stuff over to people and not kept track of it. I mean, it didn't happen with Operation Fast and Furious with the Obama administration, or I don't know, handing stuff over to the Mujahideen, also known as Al Qaeda and the Taliban. Nothing could go wrong. Nothing could possibly go wrong here. Absolutely not. So yeah, let's take a deeper dive into this one. So this was originally through the Libertarian Institute, published through Zero Hedge. A U.S. official said the White House has almost zero ability to track the weapons it is sending to Ukraine. So far, Joe Biden has approved over $3 billion in arms shipments to Kiev. Keep in mind, it took how long for them to figure out how to send you a $300 check when COVID was happening? But $3 billion to Ukraine, drop of a hat. Speaking with CNN about the weapons, one source said, we have fidelity for a short time, but when it enters the fog of war, we have almost zero. It drops to a big black hole, and you have almost no sense of it after a short period of time. Yeah, so we've got the Azov Battalion. I don't know, just a group of Nazis. But I guess when they're fighting the Russians, that's okay. Although last time we were supporting the Russians and giving them weapons to fight the Nazis. So, man, things have changed. So, yeah, it goes on about different aspects of the war and how we just can't track what's going on. But keep in mind, we are now handing them attack helicopters, howitzer cannons, I guess you could say artillery, technically not cannons, howitzer artillery, just all kinds of stuff. And I'm wondering, with Poland basically demanding to have nuclear weapons so that they don't get invaded, what kind of accountability is that going to have if we go ahead and do that? Because a lot of times when they're discussing this stuff, it's either already being done or it has been done. And they'll say, yeah, we're doing that. It's kind of like you buy that thing on eBay and your wife is like, hey, what's this purchase here? Oh, I was going to. I was thinking about it. It's already on its way, right? Yeah. So zero accountability for where weapons are going in Ukraine. Awesome. Americans are spending more, getting less, and borrowing more to pay for it. Who would have thought that'd be happening? It's like 9/11 all over again. Remember after, let's see here, after 9/11, the stock market crashed, the economy wasn't doing so good, and the first thing they said was, uh, be an American and go out and spend more money. That's going to be the battle cry when things continue to go downhill. Retail sales in March were 7% higher than they were in the stimulus fueled March of 2021, but thanks to inflation, they didn't get as much bang for their buck. No kidding. Seasonally adjusted, retail prices up 0.5% month to month in March at 677 billion. And as Wolf Street put it, Stimulus Miracle March 2021 was a very tough month to beat, but Americans did blow by it. What they didn't do is blow by is the now raging inflation. So we're spending more to get less. No kidding. Since retail sales are expressed in dollar amounts, they reflect both units sold and rising prices. That means there were two ways retail sales could go up. Consumers buy a larger quantity of stuff, the price of the stuff they are buying goes up. I also heard that some of these stores are claiming to have more profits than they did last year, but due to inflation, that's technically not true. So the stores are lying about their sales numbers and how much profit they made to try to bump up their stock value and make their shareholders happy, which is hilarious because even they're making less money due to inflation. So, yeah, I'm still waiting for the stock market to just come crashing down because it's being propped up by printed money. It's not really worth what it's worth. I mean, it's just a number. And while we look at that number and go, wow, the stock market is up, not really. It's more like a third world country with a horrible government. Moving on. Russia tests nuclear capable ICBM as Putin warns enemies it's food for thought. Yeah, this is regarding their Satan 2, which I covered a couple days ago. Yeah, a couple days ago. I was thinking maybe that was yesterday, but it wasn't. Um, this is by Zero Hedge. In a new message aimed at the West, Russia on Wednesday test launched a new intercontinental ballistic missile, the Sarmat, according to Interfax, citing the Russian Defense Ministry. President Vladimir Putin said in a statement which accompanied the announcement that the new Sarmat missile will provide food for thought for those who try to threaten Russia. He congratulated the armed forces on the successful test launch. According to another translation, he said that the Sarmat will make the madmen who attempt to threaten Russia think. Either way, this is to discourage anyone from tinkering in Russian affairs. Sarmat is the most powerful missile with the biggest hitting range in the world. It will significantly strengthen the combat power of the Russian strategic nuclear armed forces. I did hear, I can't confirm it, but somebody said that this rocket alone could, because it holds several nuclear bombs on the warhead that disperse upon reentry, it can cover an area the size of Texas. That's what I heard. but I'm not seeing any confirmation about that on here, so I could be wrong. Um, yeah, there's not much more in here. So, oh, awesome. Which, let's see here, comparing Europe to the size of Texas. How many Texas? What, they need like 5 of these things to take out Europe? uh, let's see here. CDC asked DOJ to appeal lifting of mask mandate to protect the public health. Um, how about you losers lost? You have to accept it. Stop trying to turn back time. Um, we're not doing this shit anymore. How about that? Having exhausted our incredibly incredulity, glads, and satire. Wait, what the? The CDC has asked the Department of Justice to appeal a judge's ruling that threw out a mask requirement for plane air travel, setting up a court battle over the decision. Yeah, they can just cut out that first paragraph. That has absolutely nothing to do with this. DOJ has said Tuesday that it stood ready to appeal the ruling issued Monday by I love how they have to point this out, a Trump-appointed federal judge in Florida. What does that have to do with anything? But that it would but that it would do so only subject to the CDC's conclusion that the order remains necessary for public health. Well, the CDC deems it so. Oh my God. Yeah, the organization that got it right for so long. We should really trust them. If masks work, why aren't they working? It's a legitimate question. If the vaccine works, why didn't it work? More people died under Biden than they did under Trump. To protect the public's health, authority beyond the ongoing assessment announced last week, CDC has asked DOJ to proceed with an appeal and Health Freedom Defense Fund. Oh, yeah, spend more of our tax dollars to basically screw us over. That's awesome. It is CDC's continuing assessment that at this time, an order requiring masking in the indoor transportation corridor remains necessary for the public health. Okay, so air travel is kind of a complicated operation because at the altitudes that the planes are going, you have to recycle the air in the plane in order to make sure that nobody suffocates, which is why, bombers during World War II had to wear oxygen. They had oxygen tanks in the bombers because otherwise they'd all pass out and crash. So, with recirculating the air, there's these HEPA filters that take out 99.9999999% of all the shit that is in the air. Add a UV light, and guess what? There's no fucking COVID on the planes. There's no COVID on the planes. You're being assholes. If you could get COVID while traveling on a plane, nobody would travel, for one. Two, they probably wouldn't allow planes to operate and just let the businesses go under, or they'd bail them out like after 9/11. But no, there's absolutely no the science of filtering the air on the airplane is better than the science and the CDC has on the mask. The masks are nothing compared to what is filtering the air on the plane. Moving on. To fight Russia, Europe's regimes risk impoverishment and recession. Yeah. Where the heck are my other articles? I have 2 articles missing that I was going to cover. That is weird. No, not that one. Not that one. Actually, I think I've got more articles missing. Yeah, I have several articles that are missing from here. That's weird. Maybe I'll try reloading this. Okay, to fight Russia, Europe's regimes risk impoverishment and recession. That's a given. It's not even a risk at this point. They shut down the oil and gas coming in next week, and Europe's economy as a whole is pretty much done. Germany is already acknowledging this because they don't want the shutdown to happen, but they're kind of stuck with um, the consequences of being part of the EU. Yeah, didn't see that one coming. But Germany is also the largest economy in Europe, and it doesn't make any sense at all. So this was from the Mises Institute. Most European regimes have widely concluded Polish and Baltic recklessness, notwithstanding that provided a military conflict with nuclear armed Russia is not a good idea. So, doing something consists primarily of trying to punish Moscow by cutting Europeans off from much needed Russian oil and gas. Yeah, because this is going to go over so well. The problem is this tactic doesn't do much to deter Russia in, let's see here, anything other than the short term because Russian oil can turn to numerous markets outside of Europe. And they've already lined up those buyers. Good morning over a pipe. Good to see you. So, you've got two oil markets right now. You've got the one where Russia is selling to places like China, I think India. There's trade going on with Saudi Arabia and Russia, where basically Saudi Arabia could just bypass OPEC, use the ruble, and sell through Russia if they wanted to at a discount. And also, Russia is offering their oil at a discount, which means that in an open and fair market, people are going to turn to Russian oil, unless you have a trade embargo, in which case you're just hurting yourself because they're saying that all the other oil through OPEC will probably go up to $185 a barrel next week when this embargo goes on with cutting off Russian oil. Yeah, that makes a whole hell of a lot of sense, and it really makes sense as to why Biden is sending our strategic reserves to Europe instead of to the pumps here to cut gas prices. That was what they said, isn't it? That's what that was why he was tapping into this important reserve for military use, was to lower gas prices here to hopefully not have a complete landslide when it comes to Republicans replacing Democrats in the midterm. Yeah, that was what was he said. He said that's what was happening. I can't verify he knew what he was saying, but that's what was being told to everyone. Yeah. So the EU is figuring out that oh, here's the rest of the nope. What the heck? All right, I'm going to try loading this again. See what happens. Yes, okay. Here's the rest of them, which there's a lot, but not really. China and Russia pledge deepen strategic ties no matter what. Um, so China's been it's like a cheating wife. It's oh, I love you. No, nothing's going on, and then all the actions and what other people are telling you are not matching up with what she's saying at home. That's China right now, because China says no, 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 no. We have nothing to do with them. No, they do their own thing, and then they're like, hey, Russia, we buy your oil. China has remained undeterred by Washington's threats over its deepening ties and closer cooperation with Russia, even as the Kremlin commits to military takeover of the Donbass region in Ukraine. I think that's being optimistic. I'm pretty sure they just want the whole damn country. On Wednesday, Beijing affirmed it will, quote, continue strengthening strategic ties with Russia, according to a top diplomat. Yeah. They also go on to say no matter how the international landscape may change, China will continue to strengthen strategic coordination with Russia for win win cooperation, jointly safeguard the common interests of the two countries, promote the building of a new type of international relationship, and a community with a fair future for mankind. Yeah, because that's going over well in Shanghai. A shared future for mankind. Might want to think about that for a bit. So yeah, China and Russia are definitely hand in hand with a lot of this stuff now. China's still preparing to take Taiwan. That happens. We're SOL. Walmart will go out of business. Is what I'm saying. Like 90% of Americans won't know where to buy their shit once Walmart closes. Yeah, this is. I don't know how they didn't notice this was happening. Like I saw this stuff going on like 4 or 5 years ago between China and Russia, and like if one of them had done something like if China had invaded Taiwan first, and now all the things that we're doing and saying when it comes to Ukraine, we're saying about Taiwan. Yeah, Russia would be supplying a bunch of stuff to China, and we'd be like, no, you can't do that. We have a trade embargo with China, and Russia would be like, yeah, we don't care. uh, so here's yes. Thoughts on nuclear deep thoughts on nuclear war. I should probably just move this into the bathroom and just ponder it. But there's two articles here, and it's reminding me a lot of when some idiot in Hawaii pressed the wrong button and sent out a message to the public via cell phone that a nuclear strike was imminent. You've got 20 minutes to find some place safe to survive. Good luck. But in the last let's see here, these are both from today, but I heard about one yesterday, which is why I looked one up. Russian television warns of nuclear war amid U.S. tensions. Pinball Preparedness was talking about this, and yeah, Russian media outlets have asked viewers if they're ready for nuclear war. Weird, because for the longest time, people were saying that, only the US is talking about nuclear war. Russia really hasn't been discussing it. With diplomatic relations between Moscow and Washington at their lowest point since the Cold War, turning on Russian television can be an alarming experience. For the past month, Russian media outlets have been punctuated with reports asking people whether they are ready for nuclear war. Quote, if it should one day happen, every one of you should know where the nearest bomb shelter is. It's best to find out now, according to one particularly fevered report on the Russian state-owned television. We've had it with the American abuse over Syria. TV host with oddball name told his audience. Impotent behavior from the U.S. towards Russia, he said, has now taken on nuclear dimensions. It goes on to talk about not just like bomb shelter, but having your basement stockpiled, knowing where to stay for several days at a time if there is a nuclear fallout, because it's important to stay away from the walls, to have as much ground cover above you as possible. Yeah, going through all the things when it comes to a nuclear war, and I'm I'm pretty sure they probably still have like printed out versions of like what to do in nuclear detonation from Chernobyl and the Cold War. But not only is Russia doing this, we have Taiwan News Channel accidentally airs false report of Chinese invasion. Uh, uh, they have one job. I mean, some people speculate this is to see how the Taiwanese public would react to news of a Chinese invasion, like how so that the government can prepare for like how to organize and if there's going to be like public upheaval about this. CTS apologizes for panic caused by broadcast of mocked up captions it says it created for security drills. Oops. And this is through The Guardian. A Taiwanese news channel has broadcast by mistake a fictional news alert that said Chinese armed forces had launched an invasion, firing missiles at cities and ports surrounding the capital, Taipei. Several news captions declared a violent attack by the China's People's Liberation Army had been mocked up for forthcoming security drills, but were broadcast accidentally to Taiwanese viewers at 7 a.m. on Wednesday. Nice way to start the day. Definitely would help with your triple S, at least the shit. Shower and shave, you'd probably skip. New Taipei City was hit by communist missiles. The Taipei port has exploded. Facilities and ships are damaged and destroyed. The Chinese television system's news ticker read. On the brink of war, the Chinese Communist Party prepares for war. The president has issued an emergency order. Oh boy. Yeah. The fact that they're getting ready to air this stuff should say a lot. So yeah, it just seems like everybody is preparing for this. And you have Russia test firing their ICBMs. We also know that they have the hypersonic cruise missiles. We, for some reason, can't get our heads out of our butts and can't figure out how to make a hypersonic missile, which I find to be very, very odd. You know, we used to be at the top of all this technology, and for some reason, I don't know if it's diversity hires or what the deal is, but yeah, we don't know how to get our shit together. Uh, I have zero confidence in our government at this point. I'll put it that way. So going back to the video I referred to at the beginning of this broadcast. When it comes to food shortages, supply chain issues, uh, there's been a couple of recent fires that have happened that keep popping up on YouTube and other news feeds. But I did a quick Google search, and this is the stuff that I found in a 10-minute time span, just typing in fire food processing. So this is from today. Taylor Farms state-of-the-art packaging plant in Salinas was destroyed by fire. Weird. And I believe they produce salad. State-of-the-art packaging plant. Weird. They get this new technology. The what is it? The fourth. Klaus Schwab. He likes to talk about this. The fourth industrial revolution. Where these machines are going to take over your jobs and apparently set themselves on fire because they don't like being oppressed. So Taylor Farms, their state-of-the-art packaging plant, destroyed by fire. I'm continuing on. Blaze destroys Belfast potato processor plant, April 21st, 20. Oh wait, no, that's the date that I posted it. So no, the Salinas one was a couple days ago. Let's see here. April 14th. No, I don't want your cookies. Go away. The potato plant, that was, let's see here, 324. Yeah. Moving on. Boiler explosion starts fire in Hermiston, Oregon food processor. Huh. Yeah. Um, I believe that was the beginning of the year. Fire disrupts processing at JBS plant in Grand Island, Nebraska. Weird. Van Druen Farms experiences fire. Pet food processing. Again, that's weird. Haven't we seen like a shortage in pet foods lately? Moving on. North Carolina Department of Labor has opened investigation into fire at Weaver Fertilizer in Winston-Salem. Fertilizer, the one thing that we really don't need burning up right now. But for some reason, a fertilizer plant caught on fire. Where's OSHA? Where's the building regulations? Where's all the fire suppression equipment that's supposed to be set up in case something like this happens? I don't see a lot of this stuff working lately. And the last one, massive sugar refinery fire and other food industry. Yeah, let's click on that one. So this was powderbulksolids.com. Weird. This was from April 20th. This was last year, 2021. But a 3 alarm fire ripped through the Domino Sugar facility in Baltimore Tuesday afternoon, destroying a storage silo. No injuries were reported as firefighters battled the blaze for hours. Several employees had to be rescued by fireboat. Yeah, this stuff in the last 2 years has been rampant. I don't know what's going on, but it just seems like whatever fire codes, whatever building regulations, uh, OSHA regulation, whatever it is that we're supposed to have in place to prevent this stuff isn't happening, or it's failing massively. Uh, there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different fires within a year's time span. And it's all major industries when it comes to food processing. Silver tobacco pipes. Morning. I just watched a bit of your last video. Got to go to work, but thought I'd peek in and say hi. Well, welcome. Thank you for stopping in. It just, none of this makes any sense to me. I don't, how does this happen? There's a lot of conspiracy theories and speculation that this is actually on purpose. And I'd hate to say it, but the more this happens, the more I'd have to say it's probably so. Okay, Overpipe has question. What do you think about Alex Jones declaring bankruptcy? Well, technically, he didn't file bankruptcy. He filed Chapter 11, which does fall under bankruptcy law, but it is a protection for his companies. There's more to the story than just he filed. It has to do with the Sandy Hook lawsuits that are going on, where he's being accused of having more money than he does. He tried to settle out of court for allegedly what he had said about Sandy Hook. I don't know who that is. Googling. Oh, somebody doesn't know who Alex Jones is. So, anyways, he's being sued. A lot of people are saying that the amount of money that he offered the families was more than adequate, but they refused it. Not because the money wasn't good, but because they basically want him to be publicly humiliated, which I don't know, getting kicked off of like every social platform, trying to destroy his company, um, making sure he has no public access to just about anywhere or anything. Like, I don't know, like how far do you need to take this? Um, let's see here. Alexander Jones, far right radio host and prominent conspiracy theorist. He hosts the Alex Jones Show from Austin, Texas, which the Genesis Communications Network. Uh, don't really follow American radio from here in Canada. I hate that suppression of opinion. Yes. He was one of the first people. There's a really good movie called Don't Watch This. It covers a lot of the early people who were canceled for stating their opinions. Um, actually, I'm kind of surprised Wikipedia was that mild when describing who Alex Jones is. I'm surprised nobody went in there and added a bunch of other stuff. So yeah, he tried settling out of court. They refused the money. They're claiming he has more money than the company's books say he does. There's accusations that he moved money into the accounts of like relatives and other companies that he's associated with to keep it out of the lawsuit, which is fairly interesting because just because you're being sued doesn't mean you don't have access to your money. So before the lawsuit is settled, you can move your money wherever, however you want. If you want to spend it all, you can do that. And then when the court comes out and says you owe so and so $2 million, and you say, I don't have $2 million. Well, you had $2 million 6 months ago. Yeah, it's gone. Then that's pretty much like what's happening with Alex Jones. It turns out he did use the money to buy product and other things for the company. There were bills that needed to be paid, so he paid those. He's got roughly $3 million to keep his operation up and running with like payroll and everything. But they're like, no, you've got 15, $16 million. And he's like, no, I don't. He's a big conspiracy guy in America. Funny enough, he gets a lot of crazy things right. Yes, they're turning the freaking frogs gay. Cloned beef is a thing. Shall like alien, not alien, animal human hybrids. They've actually been working on that since the 70s. It's pretty weird. Alex Jones is never wrong. Hashtag. Whatever happened to free speech in which democracy is based? It's only if it's the speech that they like. And by they, I mean Democrats in particular. They have the right to free speech. You don't, because anything you say is hate speech, and hate speech isn't a thing. That it's just a term they made up to sound bad so that they can suppress other people's speech. I mean, let's go back to Athens for crying out loud. This is the basis of freedom, except Athens had slaves, but, you know, what are you going to do about that? Don't politicians send campaign money to their relatives too? And that's illegal. There's a big difference between corporate funds and campaign money, which is regulated. AOC and Ilhan Omar are currently in deep doo-doo with how they funneled money into other things. And quite frankly, I'm just hoping that they disappear sometime soon. Gotta run, guys. Not after the invasion by Persia. Let's see here. I believe he's talking about the slave trade. Well, at that point, if when they were invaded by Persia, they didn't exist anymore. They're part of the Persian Empire. So, anyways, Yeah, the food processing plant fires, that's something that is just it keeps happening, and we keep seeing stuff disappear from the store shelves. So if there's any indication that there might be something happening beyond just COVID and World War III, I think this is the big red flag here. And there's a lot more coverage on this with Ice Age Farmer. He's no longer on YouTube. He got kicked off for sharing news, literally just sharing news articles. So you can find him on like Odyssey and Library, but he's got a depth of information. There's also iceagefarmer.com, and where his website is just filled with news articles about basically food. Um, Very food based. He's into this grand solar minimum thing. I don't really get it. I don't understand the science behind it. And, but, when it comes to this like global famine, food shortage, shit's about to hit the fan. He's been on top of this for a while now. That would be the place to go to find out more about the food processing plant fires and farm fires and pet food fires. And how does pet food catch on fire? It doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense at all. So, anyways, that's about it. Let's see, I don't think. There's nothing else on here at the moment. So, anyways, unless anybody has any questions, I'm gonna wrap this up. Shorter video today, 42 minutes. Nothing at all. All right, well, keep on typing.